Hi everyone, let's talk about WWE NXT from last week, which was a great show. Let's talk about it, guys. The show opens as we get right into it, and it's Final Influence, Fallen Haley, and JC Jane and Lennon Reed fences Loa Vice and the Cooling, Easy Dame, and Tatum Paisley. So the Final Influence taking charge very quickly on Loa Vice and quick tag, and Reed counters an armbar, but Loa cracks off a hard right and Brett Brisk in and tags Damon and quick tag to Colin, working leaning Reed over, and she gets a super kick to Tatum Paisley and tags to Fallen Haley, and a double mat slam short whips to the corner, and Tatum Paisley up and cover from Fallen Haley and blasts her with an elbow to the spine. Then Hill kicks Strudson Tatum Paisley cover for two, and Tatum Paisley and Loa Vice work together in a little since shaming. Well, Easy Dame shoves as we go to the break, and then back from the break, a cannonball Susan from JC Jane running knee, and Loa Vice kicks out, and then Loa Vice gets away and tags to Tatum Paisley and Wicked Chamber and Tuplex on Fallen Haley and counters a crossbody for Reed, and JC Jane lays an under an X handle, and Fallen gets an Enzenari, and Tatum goes from up the top and nobody's home on the 450 splash and rolls through a leg scissor pin for Fallen Haley for two, and then a Rana pin from Tatum Paisley so close, and a cheap shot from Lennon Reed, and then Fallen Haley gets a near fall, and Easy Dame breaks it up, and Easy Dame gets Tatum Paisley a little help and still just gets a near fall, and Tatum Paisley follows it with a stunner and clears the apron and a pump handle cemetery drive, and Reed breaks it up in the match, breaking down a cinch neck breaker drops from Fallen Haley and Tatum Paisley, and Easy Dame and Strex and chatting with Tatum Paisley, and JC Jane charges, and Easy Dame shoves Tatum Paisley out of the way, so JC Jane clobbers her, and Full Influence wins by pinfall with a rolling elbow from JC Jane onto Easy Dame. And then we get a promo with Los Americanos in Spanish exploring the NXT locker room, and they touch Josh Burt's stuff, and he goes over all mad and says he made his money putting fans' favorites down like them, and he challenged Americano to a match and no title, no time limit, no petty, and El Grande Americano accepts the match and then goes to the break, and then back from the break we get a promo from TNA, um, Xia Lee Yang Lee abusing um Kalani Jordan off, bringing shame to the Knockouts division, and fails to bring honor back to the title. And then Vince QCC are in Ascension backstage, and Vince Sinclair celebrating Kendall Grace on her win last week and says she's going to win her tournament match tonight. And Colin Cameron and Tyrant Me Stills cheer her on, and Kalani Jordan appears to tell them she used to be like them, but they really need to hear what she had to say. And Kalani Jordan makes her anxious, and she gets on the mic and she says last week she did everything she could to keep the knockout title by any means necessary, and she could say it with a bit out of character for a champion, and the crowd boos her, and she asks why the crowd cheered Dominic Mysterio for cheating, and they still cheer for Cody Rhodes after he used the belt against Drew McIntyre. But everyone has a problem with her and stuff with that, guys, and all that. And it might be because they got a sense from your sense connect with nothing a sense over, and goes with side legging pants and all that. And then she complains that Loa Vice is going to a AAA and gets her nothing but love, but goes to TNA and she gets hated on, and she got kicked out of the locker room by a woman who hasn't done half of what she has, and she's been the standout in NXT from day one. And she said Jordan Grace got nothing but booed till she attacked her, and now they're cheering her. And she said the crowds here isn't fans and their followers, and it's time for her to be selfish. And Gold Rush is coming up, but she's staying home and she's not defending her title because nobody has earned it. And she sees Siley Lee talking, but she's not even on her register. And she says she's already beated her and calls her a traitor and calls her betrayal. So again, calls her disloyal, and calls her whatever the hell you want, but you will call her champion. And then we go to the break, and then back from the break, OTM are interviewed backstage, and they're not chasing dreams anymore. They're taking it, and they're coming for everybody in that locker room and stepping on every foot that gets in their way, and they do not have to yell anymore. They learn to speak volume with a whisper, and they are the silence that shake the room. And Kel Dixon and our since Connor roll to say that they haven't forgot what happened and talk some trash. And Andre Chase rolled up the ass if they really think pissing OTM off is the move, and if they listen to a single word he said. Then we had El Grande Americano versus Josh Brooks, and Grande Americano won this match and stuff, but it is what it is. Let's talk about it. So this is what happened, guys. Let's talk about it. So following out of the ropes and heel kick from Grande Americano, charging off hand chomps and whips, reverse up and cover and back roll and flipping arm drag in a setup and a hammerlock and a hand standing to wrist to the pressure and an overhead elbow and a penalty kick connects and El Grande Americano up top of the second, but he does too much um theater trick, and Josh cuts him off and a Grande Americano points, and Jasper Troy's in the crowd shaking his chain, and Josh Brooks blasts El Grande Americano with a big boot as we go to the break, and then back from the break, El Grande Americano with a jawbreaker right hand up in the turnbuckle and jockeying for position, and Bader Rem shoulder block and takes Josh Brooks down and whips reverse and flying headbutt from El Grande Americano on a fireman carry and blocks with elbow, and Josh Brooks shoves him off, and El Grande Americano El Grande Americano chomps him down, and Devin Heights runs interference, and Rado and Bravo hit a double low blower on Josh Brooks, and El Grande Americano locks the Steiner, the reciter on, and that's how Grande Americano won by submission with the Steiner reliner, and that's what happened. And then Kalani Jordan rolls up on the Wins Quartz Cutter Catch Crew. You know what I was saying? The Wins QCC, the Quarter Catch Crew, and they bicker. And Everrain wants to talk to Kalani Jordan in private, but Jordan insists on talking right now. So Everrain tells her that whether or not she defends at Gold Rush, it isn't her decision. And Kalani Jordan points out it's not her either because she's not run. She doesn't run TNA, and Regent Mead still comes over and she trades jabs. And Everrain admits she doesn't run TNA, but she does run NXT, and she books a match between Jordan and Stills. And then Ricky Saints runs into Miles Bourne backstage, and Bourne asked him to save a piece of Trick Williams for him next week, and they fist bump about it as it went to the break and stuff like that, which we'll talk about that show after this one. Then back from the break, and we get a footage of Chelsea Green and Eden Page winning the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships from El Arsens and Mr. Aguada. And Ricky Saint and Trick Williams do a satellite interview, and Trick insists that Ricky isn't fit to carry the title the way he did. And Saints points out that Williams is throwing a tantrum on live television about losing, and instead of accepting his loss like a man because his ego can't handle being second best. And Trick says that's because he's second to nothing, in a sense that Saints knows nothing about carrying NXT. And Ricky Saints says Trick Williams has been 1 foot in and 1 foot out of NXT since before he showed up, and he can take NXT to heights, and that Trick failed to do so, and Trick Williams takes everything for granted. But Ricky Saints claims he doesn't take anything for granted. And Trick says he doesn't understand that I'll say it again. Trick says he doesn't understand, and Ricky looks like a fan. If he wants a title, he should buy a replica off of WWEshop.com and stuff like that. And he's bigger and better on Tuesday, and he will be the last man standing. And Ricky Saints says Trick wears his the Simpsons while he's done with the talking and doesn't want to wait to next week. And they both get up to go looking for each other. I'll say it again, looking for each other, and cuts away, and then right back as Trick Williams grabs a steel pipe and swings, but Ricky Saints ducks under him and brawls him into some groveling, and then security tried to break it up, and Trick catches him hard in the midsection with a pipe and grabs the title and says Ricky will see this side of him upcoming the next week, which happened last night. And then Sarya makes her entrance and brings it to the break, and then we had this match that was for the frickin' Speed Championship first round match, whatever. Well, let's talk about it. So, Win Sinclair fences Sarya for the WWE Speed Women's Championship Tournament first round match. Sinclair ducks and dodges. She goes for an armbar and falls at the end of her first minute, and grabbing an octopus hold and shoving to a sunset flip, and only a near fall and kicking her leg out of her leg, and a drop kick overhead chomp into her own last minute, and an armbar from Win Sinclair. And then Sarya reaches out and cinch, but she's just cold counter, and instead, and Sarya wins with the press, with the lateral press, and that's how she won. And then Kalani Jordan makes her entrance to the break, and then we had Kalani Jordan fences Ty Tyra Me Stills, and Stills grabbing a twist lock, witching it, and Jordan wheels through and reverses, and Stills goes right with her and picks a leg and a fireman carry and takes over, and Jordan with a right hand and whips to the corner, and Stills slingshots to the apron and a sunset flip back into the corner, and a victory roll pin for two. Then Alabama slam still no, and an arm winger, and Stills grabs a double knee bowl and a bowl and a barrel, and rolls back into full ascension. And then an O'Connor roll reverse, and a reverse back, and a soulmate. And Jordan lands a super kick, and that sends her to the apron, and a front kick putting Stills into the post, and an arm ringer, and Stills crushes into the floor and back inside, and Jordan with an overhead elbow and top wrist lock ascends, and Stills pulses her feet and fights out with a body blow and ducks a lariat, and Jordan lands an elbow with a whip across big lariat from Stills, and a mat slam follows, and drawing her up and whips across, and a big pop up and drops a whip into the corner and up and over, and a lenta slam cover for two, and then a slip leg moonsault, and Jordan wins with a pinfall with a slip leg moonsault, and that's how she won. And then TNA's director of fun, Santino Marella, appears on the Titron, and he says he heard Kalani Jordan's talking about not defending the title at Gold Rush, but she will be defending the title in a triple threat against Xia Li and Jordan Grace. And Soruka talks to Ever Rain about her knee getting better and asks for her rematch against Blake Monroe at Gold Rush. And Ever Rain says she's getting better, but she's still got about a month to go, and she's not going to book her unless she's essentially clear and ready to go. And then Final Influence rolls up so JC Jane can ask her rematch at Gold Rush, and the two teams of women bicker, but Ever Rain excuses herself to go talk to the other GM about who from NXT is going to be in the John Cena tournament. And then Devon Evans makes his entrance to send us to the break. And then we had Devon Evans fences Sunquan Kerr. I can't pronounce his name, the guy's name, but that's what happened, guys, right there. Let's talk about it anyways. But Devon Evans faced Daquan. I'll just say Daquan, guys. So Devon Evans dives on Daquan during his entrance, and bell rings, running knee, and so close. And so Swan with a Manhattan drop, and shoving Devon Evans off an elbow to the kidneys and up and over, and Evans returns to the favor, and a big chomp falls off the rope in a sense suicide, and Devon Evans is fired up, and Taquan with a backbreaker and sitting on Devon's neck up and over, and he takes Taquan down, and a drop kick sends him to the floor, and Evans fires up as Dark Dark State. I keep thinking about Dark Dark Side. I mean to say Dark State, but Evans fires up as Dark State throws Daquan back in, and stabling Devon into the corner, and back body drop sends him to the floor, and Devon slingshots plunger connects, but Cutter James runs in interference, and Kawan splashes Evans to the floor with a dropkick to send us to the break. And then back from the break, Evan gets off a folding press for two, and then an up kick sends Taquan trembling into the corner, and then a big back body drop as Devon Evans puts it together, and then back body drop sets him on the apron, and an elbow lands true. Taquan ducks a springboard scoop and a slam, and then a cartwheel into a drop kick, and then a since pinfall kick from Taquan, and then Devon Evans eyes stealing with the Rents. I'll just say stealing with a Demerson refused into a hard right hand, and then whips across and a rebound German suplex, and Devon Evans tears his shirt off and ready to action, and ducking punches and throwing his own, and a Superman punch clobbers him into the corner and lighting him up, and punches and kicks into the corner, and Dixon Lexon pulls Daquan out for a peep talk, but Devon Evans whips him out with a dive and a springboard back inside a lariat, and Nizer cover not enough, and then slams from Daquan and a springboard nobody's home, and an ace crusher from Evans, and then a springboard ace crusher, and a since Griffin pulls him off the cover, and then Devon Evans ducks and dodges and gets the better of the Dark State members by member, and since Lex gets thrown into the announce desk, and then Evans returns in the ring and super kicks on Daquan off the top, and that's how Devon Evans defeated Daquan with the diving tutorial, and that's what happened. Then backstage, Blake Monroe is chatting with Everrain about Gold Rush, and Everrain says if Soroka is clear, she will get her rematch, and Blake shoves, but Everrain says it's up to medical, and Blake gets on a phone call and says her better half wants an interview next week, and Everrain is as confused as we are as fans and stuff like that. And then our newly ascended Canadian AAA mixed tag team champions are shown walking backstage to send us to the break. And then back from the break, the Cooling are backstage, and Tatum Paisley is having a meltdown about them losing the trios match, and Easy Dame tells her she can't keep making decisions, and she's working so hard to become champ, and if she doesn't want to start thinking because she's going to lose the title, and she wants the title in the Cooling for a long time, and Tatum Paisley promised to be a lot more ascents from here on out, but there is one more thing she needs to do next week to feel a sense, just one more thing. And then Chelsea Green and Eden Page and Everfire are in the ring with a big cake, and since like the Canadian flag, and Eden Page welcomes us to since the celebration of celebrations if you only speak English and all that jazz. And then they two of the greatest Canadians ever, and they do not have a lot of fans in the locker room and worldwide because they said things that come true and say they were going to become the AAA mixed tag champions, and here they are. But also Eden Page is the reigning defending greatest ever NXT North American champion, and proving his point once again that he really is the greatest North American champion ever, and sends up a layers of boots in the WWE ring, and Chelsea Green says she understands as a falling Canadian and mixed tag champion, she senses a jealousy, and it says this locker room is a riddle with, and who can blame them after all? Name a more iconic duo in wrestling than them, And Eden Page says this it wasn't a mistake. They do not fall into title. They said it's they say it and it comes true, and they defend them against any any anybody and everybody. And Chelsea Green tells him to not let it ruin the night. And she got the guarana, and she just wish Joe was here. And Eden Page tells her to not say that name because it will ruin everything. And Chelsea Green says she just wish Eden Page cut her off, and she points at the cake, and Eden Page says just say it and they'll deal with him. And Chelsea Green ordered Everfire to say it, and she does. And Joe Henry appears on the stage, and Joe Henry says sometimes the straightforward approach is best, but they took his advantage the wrong way and forgot what real talent looks like. And Eden Page tells them to cut to the state cut to the chase, and they say what he wants. And Joe says he wants a title shot at the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championship. And Green says she doesn't know how the synth system works, whenever the hell he comes from, but he doesn't have a partner. And Joe Henry says he needs a partner, someone who can do the spin and wave him side by side and side behind him and chant, "We believe." And he was going to keep it a secret, but if you want to know right now here tonight, then all they got to do is say her name. And he stamps his finger, and observes a theme since pronouns plays, and it's Thea Hill within the cake. And they smash Chelsea Green into the cake and break a sense over in Eden Page hands before smashing with a cake too. And then the commentary hypes up for the show, and then Joe and Thea Hill spin, zoom, and smile and wave their hands side to side, and that's what happened on the show. And I get this show a 9 out of 10, guys, which this was a good show, I'll tell you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. NXT is a great show, man. Loved it, man. I loved it. I'm telling you. This show is great. I'm telling you. Better than Raw and SmackDown, in my opinion, weekly. But that's just my opinion. But yes, guys, I gave this show a 9 out of 10. It was a great show. And this is CJD 2006. I'll say it again. This is Christopher Jackson Denver, CJD 2006. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always, guys. And we're out. Peace out and take care. Peace out and take care.